Hello, welcome to July 2026, Pause at the Well. I'm Maria Mellano from Integral Bloom with Angela Marie from Grounded Dreamers here for our monthly soul growth reading. So, let's take a moment, pause, take a deep breath, let that breath oxygenate your cells, and take a moment to let it move all the way down into your deep belly space. And then down through your hips, down through your sciatic nerve, and all the way down into the ground. Take a moment to root, ground, and clear anything that's in your space. Take a moment to acknowledge any of your accomplishments or any of your gratitudes. And then let's open up into this wonderful reading that we just got at the well at our monthly Pause at the Well session. And yeah, it's just another transformational journey that we're going to move through this month. So, Angela.
I love it. Thank you. And it just came through to me too that whenever you're seeing this video is the right timing for you. So we're reading this for the month of July 2026. But if you're in January 2027 and come upon this, yes, that's the message for you then. So, this is all intuitive and your intuition aligns with it when it needs to. So that came through,
Yes.
little message.
Yes, thank you for
Um,
saying that. I've thought
yeah,
that often, but didn't ever put it into words. And thank you for bringing that in because it's absolutely
yeah,
true. Yeah, and in fact, we have videos that go back 5 years, and that's true for any of those past videos.
yeah. Yeah, because we meet on a schedule, but spirit doesn't always work on our schedule that we so yeah,
Right.
it's perfect. Okay, so we open up, we're talking this month about the concept of um either like a disconnection or a fracturing from our true self, right? In an effort to live and work in the real world and sort of fit in, conform to societal expectations, that kind of stuff. We're going to reclaim our truest inner being. And the first card I pulled is called When a Witch Must Drink their Brew. And this is kind of calling us to really tap into your brew is the essence of who you are, the values and things you believe in, the way you choose to express yourself. That's your own brew. That's your own special elixir. And now this is calling for you to metaphorically drink it so that your entire being is infused with that energy, um, as opposed to the conformist fitting in. So and so doesn't like it when I speak up, so I won't. Whatever that those things are that happen in our lives, to all of us, because we are human and a lot of us have that pleasing gene that we just want everybody to be happy and everything, so we sometimes forego what is right for us in certain situations. So this is saying sort of own your own magic and trust it. And then when you're out in the world, let that shine through. The next card I got is, we're going to start the little trail here, the little template of how to arrive there, right? Because it's like, yeah, sure, I know exactly who I am, but how do I execute? How do I make that happen in the real world? And remember, all of this guidance is for you at your own timing, at your own, depth of work, whatever's comfortable for you in this moment. We're not going to wake up tomorrow transformed, right? It's a journey, it's a process. So layer by layer. Speaking of layers, I got the Thunderbolt, and this is shedding the stuff the extra weight, shedding that old part of you that went beyond, above and beyond to please someone. Or, yes, I will just keep my mouth shut about this subject because they don't like it when they hear it. Or whatever these elements and facets are about you that feel like you're reaching a little far beyond from your core in order to fit into your external world, we're going to give ourselves permission this month to let some of those go one by one as they arise. Maybe decide, as it arises, how important it is that you keep, it's almost like little parts of a mask that you wear, or, layers of yourself that were created to protect you, but now as you evolve, you probably don't need anymore. So that is an opportunity to just let some of that go. Then I got chocolate. This is one of my favorites in this deck. This is indulgence and self-care. So, and I mean self-care, external self-care, like a hot bath and a nice, little dessert or a nice hot cup of coffee. Those are all lovely self-care rituals, but we're talking about the unseen elements, right? To really, when we have someone come through, trying to tell us, you said that wrong, or you're on the wrong side of this or whatever, but you really don't believe, you don't agree, to go ahead and speak up for yourself a little bit, in a gentle, kind way, that no, I disagree and this is where I'm coming from. That's an act of self-care, to be able to fully embody and express your truest self. So little by little, notice when those opportunities arise. Then I got clarity. Says still your mind and sharpen your focus. And that is, as you're on this journey and as you're starting to move through certain elements about yourself that you want to transform, that you want to leave part of it behind and create new, that clarity starts really showing up. It's almost like, when you're on a road trip and they say, look at for all the yellow cars, and then suddenly that's all you see is yellow cars. This is that kind of momentum that we're seeking here, is more and more of me will come out and shine through. And the focus on that leaves very little room for any, compromising, or I don't mean you shouldn't compromise, but any um, dismissing of the parts of you that are important. So that clarity starts to come through. Then I got source, and this is like the clarity within, right? This is the tapping into the core of who you are, how you relate to the divine, to the creator, to God. Any of those semantics works, but that energy that is unseen, that is definitely guiding us all, and it taps deeper into the core of who you are, and it connects. And this is what's going to start to strengthen the more you allow those unwanted energies to fall off and really start to realign yourself. Then we come to realignment and harmony. And this is between your intuition, which is represented by those dolphins in the third eye, and your heart. And that's how you feel and what motivates you to express yourself in any given way. And that it becomes aligned. And then the way you show up becomes natural, and you don't have to edit anything soon. We don't have to edit what you say. And I'm not, there was a period when I was very quiet when I was a child, and I was, listen to everybody. I didn't want to make noise. I didn't want to make, waves. Then in my 20s, I kind of went the opposite. I kind of went nuts and I told everyone what I thought, right? I don't mean that. It's not like this suppression and you got to let off the steam and now all of a sudden you're showing up with all this defiance. That was my immature way of moving through that. But there's a subtle way to do this, a place from love. And when, I don't know, someone makes a comment like, I don't know, you focus on this too much or whatever, like from their perspective, how they see you, which is the opposite of your intention or how you want to be seen. You can lovingly respond instead of, what are you talking about? Don't start a conflict, but just say, yeah, this is working for me. And that's all you need, right? But that's another act of self-care, to sort of lovingly and kindly defend yourself in the face of how others are seeing you. So after this harmony card, now I got summer solstice, which we just passed a week ago, or a couple weeks ago. And this is a card of light and celebration. So light, as in more light, there's more brightness, in the summer, but also the lightness of being and being able to really, with clarity and focus, just let your own light shine, let it shine through. And then the last card in this spread I got is rebirth. So it says it's time to leave the old behind. And it talks about shedding your chrysalis and taking risks.
Mm,
So that's an important journey from, you drank the brew and it resulted in I can shed that chrysalis, which is what that thunderbolt card was saying too. And I get to now go forward in this new version of me,
mm.
lighter version of me. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. I want to invite everyone to take a moment and just imagine, feel into what is your special brew? What is your unique elixir? What are the components of that elixir, that nourishing, self-caring elixir? All right, just take a moment to be with that and notice whatever else is coming through for you, for your unique experience of letting go of what no longer is aligned with your life where you are now, what risk is present for you to take, right? And start to see what this means for an intention for you out of this reading. Hmm. Yeah,
Mhm.
it really means risk, right? To let go of what we're comfortable in, what we're comfortable maybe hiding behind in terms of masks and personas, right? It's really letting those comforts go, and that means opening up to risk and vulnerability. So,
Which is always the precursor to change, right? To transformation, that vulnerable space, right?
100%.
And we tend to want to either retreat back or go, okay, let's just let this breathe out a minute. Then there's usually shift and transformation to follow.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's go into the second part of the reading and invite
Okay.
everyone
So,
to
yeah. And
open.
the second part came out with some power behind it, right? If you
Yeah,
remember from the group. So I love this.
yeah.
And it's really forward looking. I got healing the heart
Mm-hmm,
first. This is the power of self love
mm-hmm,
and being able to really recognize that each of these little aspects of ourselves that we're kind of letting shine through as we go on, we let something go and become a little more of ourselves. That's all about healing. That's healing. Um, our interpretation of who we are that was created from past and past conflicts, past traumas. We usually that's when we start to form these protective layers in order to shield ourselves from you know dangerous energies that are out there, right? Which is a farce because what's within us has more power than anything. But we forget that and we sort of paper mache and layer over it as we go through. But we're ready now as we evolve to let some of that go and really stand on our own. And that has a healing effect, um, down to our soul. And then I got aloneness. And this is that act of really standing in your power. This is that sort of source third chakra energy to me that, you know, I, I acknowledge my uniqueness and I will stand in it with my power. If we think about it, like I said in the group, we're all alone on our particular journey, right? Like you could be close as ever to someone or your family or your partner, and you're traveling kind of on the same journey, but you're each on your own journey. There's crossover, but you're controlling your journey, right? It's you alone. And that's empowering. And we're not talking about loneliness. We're talking about alone, like empowerment. And I love that coming through here because this is sort of a reinforcement. And the funny thing from the last spread, it comes over over the Thunderbolt card, over this is like the tower in tarot. So over this shedding down to the core, and now what arises from it is me and my power, and I stand in it, right? And I want to say again, like I said before, that these shifts are incremental. This isn't like we're going to wake up tomorrow made over and completely, but these are incremental shifts, and we could slip back and forth as we're making that move forward. We could retreat back into some of our more protective measures, but the progress, the forward, as long as we're mostly going forward and taking care of some of these layers one at a time, we're ahead of the game. And then the next thing I got, same is kind of along those lines, is opportunity, expanding our horizons, being able to continue the more, like we said, the more yellow cars, the more yellow cars. And this is that sort of forward focus. And when we have a chance to use our voice and stand, in our power and speak up for ourselves in a loving way, take that chance, right? Maybe 8 times out of 10, you would keep your mouth quiet if you're faced with some conflict from someone or someone's interpretation of how they see you. You may just stay quiet and let it be. But a couple times you might want to speak up, and that is the opportunity you want to take because that will expand um, and shore up that sense of self that you have inside. Then, in the middle of all this, I pulled a card of sort of gratitude and abundance. And this is, it's kind of at a perfect point in the journey as far as these cards go, because it's now, after that opportunity card, oh, I'm going to speak up for myself now. That is to add to your list of points of abundance in your life, because the more you're able to really just um, exist and shine as your truest self. I mean, what could be more rich than that in your own life, in your own journey? Remember, we said we're on our journey alone. So why would we use everybody else's opinion to drive it? Like this is ours to own and our choices. So the more we look at, the more yellow cars, the more yellow cars, right? We're going to keep feeling abundance the more we focus on it. Then got a call to transformation. And this, it talks about metamorphosis, but also what I found interesting was the in between. This is literally between these two energies, between the shedding and the moving forward in our power. And it's like, what do we do with that once we've shed the things that we're not going to respond that way anymore? What do I do now? What do I do now? Right. And that in between energy is where you assemble your connection to self, you shore up that source energy, you really stand in it, and then you can move forward into more toward metamorphosis and change. And like we said, little bit at a time, it's incremental, not sudden and complete out at once. Then I got intuition. This is just reminding you know what to say, what to do, how to show up, what you believe. You know all this already. And if you do have someone you encounter that's saying whatever, like I don't know, you shouldn't sleep in so much, whatever. I pulled that from a earlier conversation. Then it's like, well, I'm good. I slept because my body needed it and I'm good. And that gives me more energy to charge on through the day. But the thing that in there is when someone says that thing about you, what is the response? What is the feelings? Sometimes we can have a visceral feeling in our body in response to something that someone else says. And pay attention to that. Like, do I feel a tightening in my gut? Do I feel my throat wants to clear because I really need to speak up for myself? Listen to that. Your body is also guiding you and your feelings. So follow those guides that you have for yourself within yourself.
Angela, what does it say under the word intuition? What are the words?
Oh, it says inner wisdom.
Oh, okay. Inner
Yeah.
wisdom. Perfect.
Yeah.
Tune into our inner wisdom.
Inner wisdom. And I love how it's depicted by the owl too, because that's
Yeah.
one of the more, intuitive creatures. Okay. And what wisdom, the wise old owl.
Mm.
And then I got balance. And this is stability and standing firm. And we've talked about this like with the aloneness card. That's kind of, but that balance is interesting because the thing that came through for me first was balancing the inner and the outer, balancing the internal and the external, because that's usually where our friction is, right? We see ourselves one way and then something happens and it's like, whoa, wait, right? So it's really being able to balance that and always reverting back to how you feel, what you know, right? What your source energy says within. But this balance is it's important because sometimes as we start to shine and drop some of these layers and become more, some of our relationships may fall off
Hmm.
because some people buy into the connection with you behaving a certain way,
That's right.
right? So it's to then that's when we're really going to need our balance because when someone says, "Ooh, you're not my friend anymore," why did you change? Why are you speaking up so much? Then that's, we want to revert back to our own inner balance because that decision or viewpoint, we don't own that. So it's really holding our own.
It also, can I just say, it connects to the aloneness card because if we're going through a painful individuation process, which is what that is, we can go through a period of mourning the loss of that connection. And that's where that aloneness card, I think, can be so supportive and healing. That all
Completely.
oneness with our own inner wisdom and trusting. So I just had that.
It's exactly that. You're
Yeah,
so right. And opposed to loneliness, if someone does
right,
leave a relationship, you feel, oh, I'm lonely because there's absence of another.
right.
But really what that is more presence of self and that power that comes there. Like you said, the all one. Um, all of life is a learning experience, but if we can really continue to focus on becoming more of who we are, almost everything becomes easier. Almost,
100%.
there's still difficulty in life, but even then we can approach it in a different way if something
Mhm.
really hard happens. So yeah, it's so important. Yeah, that aloneness card does tie to that balance. And then our final card, now that we've worked out all these little kinks and starting to like find out who we are, drank our own elixir and we're coming. And the last spread, the last card was rebirth. Now we get new vision. And this is future forward. This is really seeing all the possibility. And
Mm,
as we shed the old way that has been anchoring us in place,
mhm.
we get to find more light going forward and imagine forward. We don't have to we can let our imagination go crazy forward. And then as we keep traveling down our path, you see some of it come to fruition. So I love that as an ending. More
Me too.
light, more light ahead.
Me
Yeah.
too. I love it so much. I know everybody who listens to your readings feels like they're for them personally, but this month in particular, because my birthday's on the summer solstice,
Yeah.
so I feel like, this one's for me. I know one of the group members said that today too, and I invite everybody to take this in as it specially speaks to you. But I really appreciate the call to just be all one with my inner wisdom. I think that's what I'm taking
Love
away.
it. Love it.
And I also am so excited about the new vision card coming through because Angela and I are launching a Bloom Your Vision seasonal workshop. So I just want to remind everyone, we don't pre-do these cards. They come through spontaneously every month, literally right before the call. So the fact that that new vision card came as we're launching our first Bloom Your Vision workshop, July 11th, is really fun.
It's online,
Yeah, it's
July
online, so
11th.
wherever you are
Yeah.
in the world, you can do it.
And you get
Well, I mean,
you get a
I know
reading,
that
you get
twice.
the worksheet that
The
Maria has
workbook.
so beautifully developed to focus on something that you want to manifest. It's wonderful. So,
Yeah, it
yeah,
is. And you can find more out about it at integralbloom.com under Bloom Your Vision. So, okay, well, have a beautiful, beautiful month, everyone.